last chapter, Advancement and Leadership in Nursing, chapter 103. Graduation and employment are just the beginning steps in a nursing career. Opportunities are available for advancement if the individual nurse wishes to further his or her career. Opportunities include national certifications and further education, and nearly all of the states require nurses to take continuing education courses to maintain the nursing license. Now, as the nurse advances in his or her career, opportunities arise for assuming positions of leadership. And that's what we're going to talk about in this chapter. We're going to talk about where we're going to address some of the areas of advancement and leadership in nursing in this chapter. Advancement in nursing. Some nurses choose to advance their career. That's me. I'm one of those nurses. Others wish to continue delivering competent, caring, and safe bedside care. Hell no, without added responsibility. Some career paths lead to higher salaries, additional certification, and or college degrees, whereas other activities enhance the nurse's professional recognition or personal satisfaction. National certification. As of 2013, the National Federation of LPNs, that's the NFLPN, offers several. They offer several certifications for licensed practical nurses, LPN. So there's going to be long-term care, which is known as gerontology. The nurse who qualifies for and passes this examination is then eligible to use the initial CLTC, that's certified in long-term care, after his or her name, in addition to LPN. This certification has developed specifically for LPNs. To qualify for this examination, the nurse must hold an active LPN license in the U.S. or its territories, must have practiced in long-term care for 2,000 hours. They have to have, well, which is full-time equivalent practice uh, of 1 year within the past 3 years, and must furnish endorsement letters of reference. After the application is processed, reference materials are available to help the candidate prepare for the examination. The examination, which consists of multiple choices or multiple choice questions similar to the NCLEX, is most often taken online. A period of 2.5 hours is allowed for examination. On successful completion of the examination, the nurse receives a certificate and label pin. The certification period lasts for several years and can be renewed by meeting established requirements, including 20 or more units of specific continuing education. Nurses who are members of NFLPN may pay a discounted fee for the exam. So let's keep going, and then I'll tell you what we're going to go back and highlight. The content of the test includes the following goals. It's going to include physical, hold on. Oh, it's going to include physiologic integrity, which is promotion of quality of health, psychosocial integrity, which is quality of life as related to mental health, specialty practice issues, which is improvement of quality of life related to serving as a resource to others, leadership and management, which is utilizing the nursing process communication and an organizational skill as a resource person. Team leading is included. Now, as for the pharmacology application and examination processes are similar to the long-term care certification. Successful candidate is authorized to use the initial NAPNES certified in pharmacology, according to them. And after their name, along with LPN, so they can use the NCC after their name along with LPN. Components of this examination are no principles of pharmacology and the role of LPN, therapy affecting specific body types or body systems, drug therapy in infection and drug therapy, and cancer. Um, Moving on, intravenous therapy or IV therapy. Attainment of this certification allows the LPN to add IVP after their name. And information regarding these certification programs can be obtained through the NFLPN website. We have this phone number for the NAPNIS. Instead of me saying NAPNES, I just said NAPNIS. The program is 800-655-48. I mean 6845. No, 48645. 800-655-4845. Anyway, other certifications have been proposed but were not available as of the writing. Some of the proposed certifications are rehab, fetal monitoring, which is FHM, Alzheimer's disease, cardiology, phlebotomy, which is blood drawing, dialysis, human immunodeficiency virus, which is HIV care, and wound care. A few LPNs are certified in such related fields as massage therapy, Lamaze delivery, and Reiki therapy. Moving on, let's talk about the nurse mobility programs. Before we get into the nurse mobility programs, I feel like for the advancement in nursing, what we should highlight is the going back to where it started talking about the national certification. Highlight national certification. You need to know pretty much what these certifications are, what you can put after your name, how you qualify for them, and just highlight national certification. You need to know those. Now, as for the nurse mobility program, a number of programs throughout the country offer an accelerated route to nursing. In some cases, the programs give credit for previous nursing education and experience. In some cases, they give credit for life experience. A number of LPNs continue their education to become registered nurses. LPNs are often encouraged to go on to become RNs, and this number is continually increasing. 1+1 programs. You may be enrolled in a 1+1 program, and this program usually lasts in 2 years. Students are eligible to take the students are eligible to take the NCLEX for PN or the NCLEX for nurse practitioners, well not nurse practitioners, practical nurses examination after the first year. So once again, you may be enrolled. This is the 1+1 program. You may be enrolled in a 1+1 program, and this program usually lasts 2 years. Students are eligible to take the NCLEX PN examination after the first year. These nurses are then licensed as LPNs. The second year of the program builds on the first year, and graduate of the 2-year program are eligible to take the NCLEX RN examination and become listed as RNs. A 1+1 program has the advantage of allowing the nurse to work as an LPN after approximately 1 year of education. The nurse can work during the second year of the program. The nurse can work the second year of the program or may choose to work for a period of time before returning for the second year of the program. So what I would highlight for the 1+1 program would be in this program, usually lasts in 2 years, students are eligible to take the NCLEX PN examination after the first year, and these nurses are licensed as LPN. Now, if it's the second year, that's just going to build on some education so you can go and take the RN. It usually lasts in 2 years. Students are eligible to take the NCLEX examination after the first year. Like I said, this program usually lasts 2 years. And I will highlight the advantage. A 1+ program has the advantage of allowing the nurse to work as LPN after approximately 1 year of education. I will highlight that. Okay? And I will highlight the last thing. Because this program, what it does is this nurse, she can work during her during the second year, or she may choose um, to work for a period of time before returning for the second year of the program. Now, other types of advanced standing programs, you're going to have the 1+1 program may also recruit students from other post-secondary programs or give or with applicable life experiences. In this case, entrance students may test out of specific skills or classes. The tests out usually include both written and clinical demonstration. Component is designated to establish that the student is able to meet the objectives of the original basic level course. The nurse enrolling from another nursing program may not be able to test out of all to test out of all classes and may be required to retake classes to meet the requirements of a new school. So what I would highlight from this one is about the test out. The test out usually includes both written and clinical demonstration components and is designed to establish that the student is able to meet the objectives of the original basic level. And this is, and I will put highlight 1+1 program. They may recruit students from other post-secondary programs or with life experience. Moving on, let's talk about the advanced education and specialized training. Numerous opportunities. That was all of that. Advanced education and specialized training. Numerous opportunities exist for LPNs to obtain further education in nursing or in specialized programs, such as emergency rescue or surgical technician. Employers may provide tuition reimbursement to help cover the cost of additional education. Often in return for this reimbursement, the employee agrees to continue to work for the employer for a specific time period after completion of the education. This time period is often dependent on the amount of the reimbursement. Information about special courses may be obtained from local and national nursing organizations and schools, healthcare facilities, or the internet. In addition, many nursing journals provide info. So, what I will highlight from this is that last sentence. Well, it says, often in return for this reimbursement, the employee agrees to continue to work for the employer. So, also highlight employers may provide tuition reimbursements to help cover the cost of additional education. And highlight that second sentence. We all know that. Specific time period after completion of the education. Mm, that's what I would do. Now, moving on. That's all I will highlight those. Associate's degree, two baccalaureate degree RN programs. The associate degree RN or the LPN with an associate's or baccalaureate degree in another field can often obtain a baccalaureate's, well, a bachelor's degree in nursing in less than the usual required 4 years. Local 4 year colleges vary in their admission requirements and offers different credits for previous education. So I wouldn't highlight anything besides the first whole sentence. Shit, I don't see how that shit less than the 4 years. I've been in school a long time, and it took at least a little over 4 years to get my to almost get just hell. It took 3 years just to get out of take on my damn prereqs, but it all depends on you. It all depends on how many credits you can take per semester. You know, because if you got to go to work, you can't take all those credits, so it may take you longer than 4 years. Bachelor's degree to RNs or master's program. Some nursing programs enroll students who have a bachelor's degree in a major other than nursing. In these programs, graduates are eligible to take the RN licensure examination after a shorter period of time because they have already taken their general liberal arts courses. Therefore, the student is not required to repeat many of the courses typically offered in the first 2 years of study and can focus primarily on clinical courses. These accelerated RN courses usually last about 2 years, and some specialized courses, the graduate receives a master's degree in addition to the RN. And the key concept is as a student or practicing nurse, you are strongly encouraged to consider further education. Additional education offers a wider variety of employment opportunities. One such opportunity is teaching in nursing, which often requires a master's degree. Many nursing faculty will be retiring within the next few years, leaving many positions available nationwide. This trend is expected to continue for some time. So, what I would highlight from the bachelor's degree to RNs or master's program is in these programs, graduates are eligible to take RN licensure exams after a shorter period of time because they have already taken their general level courses. And therefore, the student is not required to repeat many of the courses typically offered in the first 2 years of study and can focus primarily on clinical. And know the key concept. Know the key concept. Like you said, as a student or practicing nurse, you are strongly encouraged to consider further education. Additional education offers a wider variety of employment opportunities. One such opportunity is teaching in nursing, which often requires a master's degree. That is me right there. I want to be a teacher so damn bad for registered nursing. So they talking about me right there. I would love to be an instructor. Many nursing faculties, that's what I want to specialize in. I don't want to work no damn well, but I want to be a teacher. Many nursing faculty will be retiring within the next few years, so leaving many positions available for bitches like us. This trend is expected to continue for some time. Refresher courses. There are several reasons for taking nurse refresher courses. A nurse may have stopped working for some time to purchase, to pursue further education. Um, a nurse, well, hold on, to pursue further education, travel, or raise a family. Refresher courses are a good idea when nurses have not been actively employed in nursing for several years. An employer may also require this if the nurse has not been working recently. Okay. So don't think you're just going to get back in there and start working if you ain't been working for a little minute. That's what refresher courses are all about. Also, it says a nurse whose license lapse or is revoked is on inactive licensure status for some time may be required to take a refresher course as a requirement to be relicensed. So that's why they tell you get your shit on time and don't let it lapse, or you're gonna be taking these funky ass refresher courses and coming out your pocket. A new graduate who does not pass the licensure examination in 2 or 3 attempts, but nurse it's a 4 attempts now. It's 4 attempts. Is usually required to take a refresher course to qualify to retake the examination. Well, say 2 or 3 attempts, but nurse um lady said 4 attempts, so it just said 2 or 3. So I they just probably want you to take some refresher courses. It didn't say take the whole damn so yeah, it's 2 or 3 attempts. It didn't say take the whole damn thing. Like it didn't tell you you need to get your ass back in nursing school because you ain't learned shit. So what I will highlight from this is um I would know about the refresher courses and the reasons. So I will highlight there are several reasons for taking the nurse refresher courses. And you need to know everything that's in the bullets in the new book, or just read that whole paragraph in the old book because it's not in bullets. So read the whole paragraph, the whole couple of paragraphs. Um, Practicing nurses teach refresher courses, which include overviews of several nursing areas such as med surg, pediatric, and OB. These courses may review basic sciences such as body structure and function, nutrition, microbiology, and child development. Other topics may include pharmacology and math, new equipment, and general nursing procedures. A refresher course often includes several hours of clinical experience in addition to theory classes. So let's move on. Talking about continuing education. It must be up here somewhere. Continuing education, as stated previously, most states require, I don't see it in the old book, but it's in the new book. Okay, so just listen up. Continuing education. So, as stated previously, most states require continuing education units, CEUs, or credits in order to renew the nursing license. There are many sources of these credits, including formal classes, online classes, and courses provided in nursing journals. The nurse who is nationally certified may be required to obtain additional CEUs for renewal of that certificate. So the last two sentences is what I would highlight. Where I said there are many sources of these credits, including formal classes, online classes, and courses provided in nursing journals. And the nurse who is nationally certified may be required to obtain additional CEUs for renewal of that certificate. Leadership. Today, the LPN is expected to assume a leadership role in some healthcare settings. The NFLPN and other organizations have reported that this increased responsibility is most evident in long-term or extended care facilities, that's the ECF, according to the NFLPN website, the .org. Opportunities for LPNs advancement include employment in critical care settings on the IV team as treatment nurses and a special procedure nurse. In some institutes and other facilities, such as nursing homes, LPNs practice in a charge nurse supervisory role. And key concepts to remember, it is important to remember that client acuity in extended care is steadily increasing. Therefore, nurses in the area must continuously upgrade skills and competencies to meet the growing responsibilities. I like that. And going back into the leadership paragraph, what I would highlight is this paragraph is actually longer in the new book. So just listen up. It says, okay, so what our highlight is, according to the NFLPN website, opportunities for LPN advancement includes employment in critical care settings on the IVP as treatment nurses and special procedure nurses. In some instances, at other facilities, such as nursing home, LPNs practice in the charge nurse supervisor. I'll highlight all of it, just like the last two. Effective leadership management. As the need for various levels of nurses to function as leaders increases, effective leadership skills become more critical. A competent leader must be able to directly, effective, and influence the action of others. I like that. What makes a leader effective? Or what makes a competent leader? I mean, what makes a competent leader? That's going to be a leader that directly that is able to direct effectively and influence the action of others. Leadership styles and basic management skills are presented here. It is advisable to obtain post-grad training in leadership skills, but leaders need other knowledge. I can write nothing on it. Hold on. So like I said, with effective leadership and management, I have to start over. Well, I did tell you the okay. So as the need for various levels of nurses to function as leaders increases, effective leadership skills become more critical. So highlight this: competent leader must be able to direct effectively and influence the action of others. Highlight this. Okay, moving on. Leadership style and basic management skills are presented here. It is an advisable, well, it is advisable to obtain post-grad training in leadership skills, but leaders need their other knowledge and attributes as well. The nurse expected to function. Get ready to highlight this. A nurse expected to function as a charge nurse or to assume other leadership positions and must decide if prepare for this responsibility. The person may need assistance in planning and implementing client care and coordinating and directing activities of other staff members. I will record, I'm not record, but I will highlight that. The leader must be able to evaluate nursing care given as well as his or her personal leadership ability. I will highlight that. Um, Any new nurse assuming a leadership position would be wise to consult other people with more experience. The LPN in a leadership position will usually report to a higher authority, for example, a department supervisor of the director of nursing. So, um, highlight the last thing. The leadership in a position will, an LPN in a leadership position, they're going to report to the director of nursing, DON. In a nursing home, or as far as my book, it says in the extended care facility, the nurse leader requires information about legislation such as Medicare, Medicaid, and Affordable Care Act, and the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, that's OBRA, information about third-party reimbursement policies such as regulation of the system of Medicare and Medicaid services will also be necessary. This nurse leader is responsible for maintaining client confidentiality throughout the facility and will be involved in re-accreditations of the facility. It is important to know how to access information if there are questions. So what I would highlight, so there was all this, let me stop right there. Let me read the key concept. The nurse working in the charge capacity or other leadership position must have strong clinical expertise in addition to excellent judgment and sound leadership skills. It is highly discouraged for the new nursing graduate to assume a leadership role Hold on. My bad. I'm gonna have to start over and start back reading. Y'all probably could not hear me. My headphones was not plugged or stuff. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna go back up to effective leadership and management. Let me just see if it's gonna catch up with me. Hold on. Give me a second. Leadership and management. I don't know, people. Right here. My bad. As the need for various levels of nurses to function as leaders increases, effective leadership skills become more critical. A competent nurse must be able to direct effectively and influence the action of others. Highlight that sentence right there. A competent leader must be able to direct effectively and influence the action of others. Leadership styles and basic management skills are presented here. It is advisable to obtain post-grad training for leaders need other knowledge and attributes. The nurse expected to function as a charge nurse or to assume another leadership position must decide if he or she is prepared for this responsibility. I like that one sentence I just read. The nurse expected to function as a charge nurse or to assume another leadership position must decide if he or she is prepared for this responsibility. The person may need assistance in planning and implementing client care and in coordinating and directing activities of other staff members. The leaders must be able to evaluate nursing care given as well as his or her personal leadership ability. So I will highlight those three sentences all together. Any new, any new nurse, assuming a leadership position would be wise to consult other people with more experience. It's very wise to get with the veterans in the game. The LPN in the leadership position will usually report to a higher authority, for example, a department supervisor or the director of nursing. In an extended care facility, the nurse leader requires info about legislation such as Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, and the Omni- Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, that's OBRA or OBRA, as regulation of the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, aka CMS, will also be necessary. This nurse leader is also responsible for maintaining client confidentiality throughout the facility and will be involved in reaccreditation reaccreditation of the facility. It's important to know how to assess info if there are any type of questions. Important to, access info if there are any questions. Key concept to remember, highlight the key concept. And it is the nurse working in a charge capacity or other leadership position must have strong clinical expertise in addition to excellent judgment and sound leadership skills. It is highly discouraged for the new nursing graduate to assume a leadership role without additional clinical experience as a licensed nurse under the guidance of a more experienced nurse. Some nurses may choose never to assume leadership positions. And let's talk about leader versus manager. The term leader and manager refers to two distinct roles. These terms may be inappropriately used interchangeably. So we're not going to use these two words interchangeably. There's a such thing as a leader, there's a such thing as a manager. They're not, these words are not to be used interchangeably. A leader is not necessarily a manager, but can be. A manager is not necessarily a leader, but can be a leader. A leader is a person who uses specific skills. Highlight that. Highlight that these words are not used interchangeably. And then highlight leader is a person who uses specific skills such as role modeling to influence others to accomplish a task or do the work. And then highlight a manager coordinates and controls the work of others. A manager is involved with organizing, planning, directing, and controlling. Highlight that too. Key concepts to remember: the leader influences others, the manager controls. Okay? The leader influences others, and the manager controls others. Like keep everybody under control. The leader is going to influence you, I guess, to reach your highest potential. And the manager is going to make sure nothing is out of order. Everything is alignment. Everybody is in control. So I'm trying to say it in a better way so you won't be like, ain't no bitch got no control over me. Just not like that type of control. Although the roles of leaders and a manager are typically separate, they often overlap. These roles may include, I like this whole sentence, and you know you're going to remember those, that the roles may include role model, educator, advocate, decision maker, planner, counselor, change agent. That's what, although the roles of a leader and manager are typically separate, they often overlap. These roles may include. So, even for a leader and even for a manager, they may have the same roles. They're can't use those words interchangeably. Role model, educator, advocate, role model, educator, advocate, decision maker, planner, counselor, change agent. Now let's talk about the characteristics of an effective manager. Being a good manager requires sound communication, decision making, and problem solving skills. The following characteristics are necessary in an effective manager. A desire to manage comfort with the position is important. Trust in one's own judgment, ability to work without constant guidance from others, ability to perform research to determine pertinent information and skills needed for the position, ability to choose competent coworkers and allow them to perform their tasks independently rather than micromanage, skills in stress management to assist self and others, and ability to understand and consider feelings and opinions of others. Also, dependence and self-direction, motivation to guide and apply, motivation to guide and work with people, not just to attain power, ability to handle different situations, ability to make competent decisions, especially in emergencies, ability to channel others' feelings and hostility into constructive problem solving. Um, where's some more for mine? Ability. The last one is ability to ability to competently and fairly evaluate the work of others to identify deficiencies and to determine appropriate solutions. Effective leadership. One needs to develop leadership skills to provide others effectively. Nurses develop organizational skills in daily client care. As a new graduate, additional leadership skills are needed. The following qualities or attributes are required of an effective leader. Wait a minute. Let me go back up before we get too deep up into that. Characteristics of an effective manager. So, what we need, okay, like you said, look at figure 103. Just talking about an effective manager communicates on a regular, consistent basis with other members of the staff. Planning is a joint effort. So you go back up, it says the following characteristics are necessary in an effective manager. So highlight that so you can know, you need to know what are the characteristics in an effective manager. All this stuff that I read. Now let's go to the effective leadership. And That's that picture that I just read. About an effective manager communicates on a regular, consistent basis with other members of the staff. Now, with the effective leadership, one needs to develop leadership skills to supervise others effectively. Nurses develop organizational skills in daily client care as a new graduate. Additional leadership skills are needed. The following qualities or attributes are required of an effective leader. So they need to have confidence in their self, so self confidence. They need to be aware of who the fuck they are, so they need to have self awareness. They need to have a strong personal value, skills of value clarification. So that's choosing freely from alternatives, prizing the choice, and acting consistently on that choice. No wishy washy ass bullshit. They need to have advocacy, advocacy. That's providing info and support to those being led. They need to know how to take accountability, take responsibility for values and actions. You know, let them know players fuck up. I take accountability. I fucked up. If you had to, and if you did fuck up, take accountability. Also ability to inspire others so they want to follow. Ability to inspire others so you can have people like, I like that. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna be just like that hoe. You know what I'm saying? Inspire others so they want to follow your ass. Ability to discipline others, recommend termination of their employment if necessary. Nursing alert and nursing leaders and managers must possess comprehensive nursing knowledge as well as the nursing skill required in a particular facility. A sound knowledge of the rationale underlying nursing procedures is vital. So go back up, highlight following qualities or attributes required of an effective leader, or to be an effective leader. The following qualities or attributes are, I'm not, that's in the old book, so highlight that. Make sure you know that nursing alert as well. I always want to know all nursing alert. Leader style, well, leadership style. Leadership style refers to behavior used by a leader in a specific situation. Various situations in healthcare dictate the most appropriate leadership style, but a strong knowledge base is essential to all styles. The most effective leader often blends leadership styles, and they can move from one style to and can move from one style to another as the situation dictates. So highlight that last sentence. The most effective leader often blends leadership styles and can move from one style to another as the situation dictates. And highlight leadership styles refer to behavior used by a leader in a specific situation. Um, let's talk about next autocratic leadership. This is and or management. That's all it is. It's self-directed. This style calls for little or no input from the staff. Highlight that whole thing. The autocratic leadership, this style, it calls for little or no input from the staff. In its extreme form, autocratic leadership may be compared with a dictatorship. I like that. In which the leader makes decisions and the group is expected to carry that shit out. I like that. In certain situations, such as cold blue or other life-threatening emergencies, this style is appropriate for the nurse leader. I like that. New graduates may feel more comfortable with an autocratic leader until they gain additional self-confidence. I wouldn't highlight that. Bureaucratic, I guess it's bureaucratic leadership. This is a policy minded So basically, this type of leadership rely on established protocols for decision making. I like that. The policy and procedure manual of the facilities offer step-by-step instructions. A bureaucratic leader will consider them as ironclad rules. I like that. And I highlight the sentence before that. This style may be helpful for new graduates who need detailed instruction. I like that. In addition, some procedures, such as sterile techniques, require strict guidelines and make no allowance for deviation in basic principles underlying rationales. You may need to know that. I'll highlight, end up highlighting the whole damn bureaucratic um, leadership. Democratic leadership. This is with democratic leadership is people oriented and tries to guide staff in the right direction. Highlight that. So you're trying to guide staff into a right direction with democratic leadership. Some nursing approaches by some nursing approaches such as team nursing benefits from democratic leadership by fostering team spirit and an atmosphere of mutual respect and shared responsibility. Democratic leadership considers group input but are able to make final decisions themselves when no census is achieved. This style allows for a free flow of ideal plans and info between leaders and followers. Okay, so highlight some nursing approaches such as highlight Democrat leaders consider group input, were able to make final decisions themselves when no census is achieved, well, consensus is achieved, and this style allows for a free flow of ideas, plans, and info between leaders and followers. Highlight all that. Next, I guess that's Laissez fair leadership. Let me make sure. Give me a second. So I guess it's called, when I looked it up, I think it said Laces Fair Leadership. Laces Fair Leadership. So with the Laces Fair Leadership, the leadership style with the least structure is Laces Fair Leadership. I will highlight that. It has the least structure. So what happens with this leader is this leader has loosely structured goals with no firm guidelines. Here she encounters followers to choose their own goals. So I would highlight the second sentence. And I will highlight here she encountered followers to choose their own goals and plans implementation. That is what I will highlight. Although leaders who continuously use this style may be well liked, um, there may their team may have difficulty in accomplishing specific goals. However, Lacey's fair leadership encourages creativity and independence and allows people to try new things without fear of mistakes. And highlight that last sentence. So with that NCLEX alert, opportunities may exist in the future for you as an LPN to become certified in long-term care facilities or another specialty, or to become a manager or a team leader. As you complete this stage of your education and prepare for the NCLEX exam, be alert to the responsibilities of a team leader. This may be helpful as you review examination questions and select nursing actions um, or item answers. Being a member of the healthcare team or a team leader relates directly to the coordination of care as provided to clients. Team leader charge nurse role. In the extended care facility, such as nursing homes, many LPNs assume charge nurse position and oversee the work of nursing assistants and other ancillary staff. These nurses also function in leadership positions in other areas such as clinic, insurance companies, and the military. The role of the team leader. Charge nurse has many facets or facets, those of both a leader and a manager. The responsibilities of this person include obtaining shift reports and determining client acuity, assigning clients to staff members, handling emergencies, coordination or coordinating all the unit's activities, assigning staff breaks coverage for breaks, um, coverage for breaks, attendance at conferences, family meetings, and other special meetings, monitoring client testing procedures, ensuring availability of needed supplies and equipment. The team leader or charge nurse also perform the activities such as counting narcotics or checking for medication dispensing machines, counting scissors or mirrors, checking the crash cart, reporting to the nursing supervisor and primary provider, checking staffing for the next shift, sending client acuity reports to administration, checking the temperature of the med refrigerators, and performing quality control checks on blood sugar testing equipment. Some of these activities may be assigned to other okay. Team leader, charge nurse, the team leader and the charge nurse um, must be leadership and must have leadership and administrative ability, a thorough knowledge of nursing, and an intuitive understanding of behavior. The RN should not attempt to assume this role without further in-service education and experience after graduation. So what we need to know about this team leader, aka the charge nurse role, if I met charge nurses. So we need to know, highlight the first sentence, which is the extended care facilities such as nursing homes. Highlight the whole sentence. Highlight the responsibility of the charge nurse and just know about all of the responsibilities of the charge nurse. Know that it's common sense that they have to have leadership and administrative abilities, a thorough knowledge of nursing, and an intuitive understanding of behavior. I will highlight that sentence. And know as a nurse, as an LPN, you gotta have knowledge of these things. So you won't come straight out of school becoming a charge nurse. So you can get that out your mind. You need to get your shit together before you become a charge nurse. The vocational and or practical, no, the practical vocational nursing manager. So the LPNs often function as managers in specific areas, most commonly clinic, or going to be like long-term care facilities and military. I will highlight this. And highlight the functions. The functions include supervision of other nursing and health-related personnel, including I forgot UAPs, assistive, whatever. Functioning as a charge nurse on team leader or team leader, serving as client advocate and or ombudsman person, assisting in staff development instruction. So we need to know all of the functions of the LPN. Champagne baby, you're gonna have to shut your damn, you're gonna have to shut them black ass lips. In addition, LPNs may be trained in specialty areas. NFLPN recommends the LPNs meet the following requirements in order to serve as leaders in specialty areas. You ready to highlight that? You ready to highlight what the NFLPN requires or recommends will recommend that the LPN meet these requirements in order to serve as leadership position. So they recommend is that the LPN have at least 1 year experience as a staff nurse in that area, present personal qualifications that indicate leadership abilities, particularly in the specialty area, demonstrate evidence of completion of appropriate in-service education or a formal um, course approved by an appropriate agency to provide knowledge and skill necessary to function safely in the specialized field, meet all standards of nursing practice as set forth by NFLPN and the State Board of Nursing. So we need to know all of that. Clinics. In addition to the many previously listed functions, the nurse working in a leadership position in a primary provider's clinic or community health center is expected to highlight all this, highlight that sentence. So therefore, you know where it falls under that. So they're expected to follow up on quality assurance, train other staff, attend team leader meetings, write policies, assist in conflict resolution between staff members, assist in hiring new staff, ongoing evaluation and dismissal from position, establish and update procedures and protocols, establish training programs, function as a safety officer or OSHA representative. Okay. The nurse in the clinic receives telephone calls and must determine what actions to take first. Um, the triage or telephone triage involves sorting calls to determine if a life-threatening situation must be immediately referred to emergency services. The triage nurse must differentiate between clients who require immediate care and who can have a future appointment. So highlight that. Highlight that. Less urgent calls are referred to the appropriate provider. Clinics may have a computerized protocol to guide the triage nurse. In some situations, the triage nurse must be an RN. Okay. Long-term care. By far, most LPNs managements or leadership positions are in extended care or nursing homes. The U.S. government has established a standard for a charge nurse in the skilled nursing facility, that's SNF. This standard states that at least one RN or LPN must be present in this facility and in charge at all times. In some subacute care facilities, a licensed nurse is not required to be on duty 24 hours a day, but it is required to be on call for emergencies at all times. It is desired that each charge nurse be trained or experienced in areas such as nursing administration and supervision, rehab, and psychiatric or geriatric nursing. The charge nurse must be able to recognize significant changes in the condition of clients and take necessary action regarding of the time of the day or night. So what I would highlight from that is um, this standard states that at least one RN or LPN must be present in the facility and in charge at all times. So highlight the sentence before that when it says the U.S. government has established a standard for a charge nurse in the skilled nursing facility. I like that. Nursing alert that you need that we must remember is the charge nurse is ultimately responsible for total nursing care of all the clients while he or she is on duty. Duties of the team leader, charge nurse in extended care facilities parallel those listed previously and also include making rounds and assessing clients, directing administration of meds and treatment, supervising nursing care, and um, nursing care given by UAP, um, conferring with team members regularly throughout the shift and communicating with the primary provider when necessary. Then box 96-2, it identifies those goals to use when communicating information. The primary provider using the S-bar method, situation background assessment and recommendation. So that's going back to that in that box. Now, according to box 103, it briefly identifies the role and some of the functions of the charge nurse in a long-term care facility. A number of health institutions and cities are available for a new nurse assuming a leadership position. And the key concept to remember is the role of the team leader or charge nurse parallels the steps. I'll highlight this. Um, that's all. Yes, I got this right. Go back up to where it says box 103-1. Let's go to box 103-1. This is the box. This box is called Functions of the Charge Nurse and Long-Term Care Facility. So what we're going to do is plan client care. So demonstrate ability to identify total needs of client care. Well, demonstrate ability to identify total needs of each client. Identify therapeutic goals for each client. You're going to receive and interpret verbal, written, and computerized reports about clients. Observe clients and identify changing and stable needs, stable daily needs. You want to assist the primary provider with examination and treatment. Serve as a member of the care team with the provider, nursing administrators, and others. Now, develops or assists in developing nursing plans, nursing care plans for individual clients. You want to determine placement of new clients, participate in-service education and activities to improve nursing practice, serves on facility committees, coordinate staff activities, demonstrate the ability to understand behavior, demonstrate basic leadership techniques, follow a good management practice, communicate effectively, demonstrate the ability to motivate staff, allow staff to independently formulate and carry out solutions and necessary in nursing care, implement client care, follows previous developed care plans, ensure that other staff do as well, teach staff appropriate actions in an emergency, assist in teaching in service classes, matches staff members with appropriate clients for daily care, assist staff to care for clients with special needs, including the client who is dying, coordinate nursing services with other departments, recognize the limits of one's own nursing practice and seeks advice when needed, prepares and gives verbal readings and computerized reports about clients as well as special reports. You want to evaluate the client's care by, so how you do that is determine effectiveness of client care using sound evaluation practices, recommend changes in nursing care procedures, modifies client care plans as needed, perform self-assessment on a regular basis and set long-term personal goals for nursing practice, observes and document the performance of those being supervised, discusses performance reviews with staff members, ensure the quality assurance goals are being met, evaluate safety of care given, and report safety concerns. So that's everything that you want to do as far as function of the charge nurse in the long-term care facility. Highlight that whole box. Put a highlight circle around. So let's talk about the staff assignment. The charge nurse is often expected to assign duties to other members of the team. He or she should know the client and staff members and their strengths. Each person has special abilities that can be matched to specific client needs. This helps ensure um, this helps ensure that the best possible care is given to clients. Advantageous to client to have a consistent client assignment from day to day if possible. So just keep in mind that many or I mean, keep in mind, making rounds is usually the first activity, either either immediately before or after the change of shift report. The clients may be involved in this rounding activity at this time. Staff okay. So making rounds, like I said, is usually the first activity either immediately before or after the change of shift period. I mean, the shift report. The client may be involved in this rounding activity. At this time, staff can introduce themselves and determine immediate client needs. The team leader charge nurse is responsible for explaining and demonstrating procedures to staff members and assisting in planning their workload so all clients receive optimal care. The charge nurse also checks periodically with staff to make sure they are not having difficulty completing their assignments. Now, key concept to remember is not every nurse has the ability or desire to be a charge nurse, okay, or even a team leader. Do not feel inadequate if you are unable to or unwilling to assume this role. If you don't got to do it if you don't want to do it. I'm probably gonna be that bitch that don't do it. I don't know. I'll probably be that bitch that will do it. I don't know. Shut the fuck up. Let me see. Going back up to the staff assignment. So what we're going to record, I mean not record, but what we're going to end up doing is staff assignment. Charge nurses often expected to assign. Yes, you should know the client. I will highlight that as a staff assignment, you should, when you're assigning the staff what they need to know, you're gonna pretty much give a staff, you should know their strengths. So if they be like, why the hell you kind of patient? Bitch, you strong with in that specialty or in that area. You're strong. So that's why I gave you this type of patient versus giving somebody else a different type of patient. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know their strengths and you got to know their weaknesses. This helps ensure that the possible care is given to clients. That's why you do it. Each person has special abilities that can be matched to specific client needs. So highlight that. Highlight those three sentences right there. You keep that in mind when you're staff, when you're assigning the staff assignment. All right. Where you going? Now, let's scroll down and let's talk about performance reviews of staff. The charge nurse is often responsible for writing summary evaluations or performance reviews of staff members and for going over this info with them. This is a challenging function for those in leadership. Steps in evaluation process include, so you're going to highlight that sentence right there because we're about to talk about the steps in the evaluation process because we're talking about the performance reviews of staff members, okay? Um, Also go back up real fast before we get into that. We're talking about when we start making rounds and shit. Um, right here, making rounds is usually the first activity, either immediately before or after the change of shift report. The client may be involved in the trial. At this time, staff for highlight at this time, staff can introduce themselves and determine immediate client needs. Team leader charge nurse is responsible for explaining and demonstrating procedures to staff members and assisting in planning their workload so all clients receive optimal care. And then highlight the last sentence. Really, all that whole fucking paragraph needs to be highlighted because that's all important. Scrolling back down. Okay, so with the performance reviews of staff. So steps in the evaluation process is going to include letting the staff So highlight steps in evaluation process include so you can know what we're doing. And also highlight the charge nurse is most often responsible for writing summary evaluations or performance reviews of the staff members and going over this info with them. Okay. This is a challenging function for those in leadership. Because you may have some people mad at your motherfucking ass, but oh well, if this ain't nothing but constructive criticism. We've heard that shit all our life. So, steps in the evaluation process include letting the staff person know that observation will be done. Sometimes the staff is notified of the specific time the observation will occur. Observing the staff person in a number of different situations and in delivering care to a variety of clients, dating each observation, like that means like include the client's initial and a brief description of care, writing a few notes immediately after each observation. Going to describe what was observed, identify both positive and negative observation and suggestions. You want to, as you know, holding a very short and formal debriefing session with the staff person after each observation. If concerns were noted, let that person know what the fuck going on so he or she can work to improve performance. Holding a very short, informal, okay, I already said that. Right? A summary evaluation performance review of the employee after the interval designated by the facility. Many facilities use a specific format for these reviews. Next, scheduling a time to meet alone with the staff person and go over the evaluation, asking for his or her input. The employee may write comments, agreeing or disagreeing. Notes about this meeting and the evaluation documents itself must be dated and signed by the evaluator and staff person. Copy is given to the staff person and is given for his or her file. The original is kept on file by the facility. If an employee showing deficiencies the first time in the due process is an oral reprimand, I'm gonna have to reprimand your ass. If the deficiency continues, a written reprimand is given to the employee. Okay, I like that. I like it. So you're gonna get reprimanded orally the first time, but the second time, if I gotta come to your motherfucking ass the second time, write your ass up. And then due process procedure ensures fair labor practice and prevent bullying or punitive actions against employees of punitive, or employers. Key concepts to remember, highlight this. The due process procedure described here applies to employees in most facilities. This includes RNs, LPNs, nursing assistants, and others. After the probationary period, due process must be followed to terminate employment except in very special circumstances. In general, employees cannot be terminated without this cause, which might be a cutback in staff. Okay? The plan of assistance. If after an oral and written reprimand, serious deficiencies are still noted, the evaluation supervisor writes a plan of assistance for the employer. The plan of assistance is dated and signed by the evaluator and the supervisor. And what a plan of assistance includes, so highlight plan of assistance includes, and then you want to highlight if an oral and written reprimand serious deficiency still noted, the evaluator supervisor writes a plan of assistance for employees. So now it sounds like you need, when I say a plan of assistance, I gotta give your ass a fucking checklist to go by. It's basically what it is. So a plan of assistance includes statements of deficiency, notice potential consequences to clients, employee actions needed to correct the deficiency, timeline for improvement to be apparent, consequences to the employee if the plan of assistance is not followed and improvement not shown. The evaluator presents the plan of assistance to the employee and discuss that bullshit with them. And the employee is given a copy and asked to sign that motherfucking shit. And I'm gonna keep the original. I'm gonna put this shit on your file. The employee's signature does not imply agreement, but simply acknowledges receipt of the information. I just need you to sign it because you know you got this shit. You know we done had this conversation about it. Your motherfucking ass can't say you didn't get it. In many cases, employees have the right to add their interpretation of the situation to the written plan of assistance. For an evaluator, it is important to continue to observe the employee to determine if the conditions set out were met by the timeline. If so, the plan of assistance is needed. If that staff member repeats the deficiency at a later time, the plan of assistance is deactivated. If the staff member does not meet the stipulations of the plan of assistance, further actions as set out in the plan and within the policies of the facility are taken. The nurse evaluating the work of others has a very serious responsibility. The evaluator needs to be mature, observant, fair, and tactful. Don't be no bitch. Can't be no hoe ass, bitch ass, piss ass, just evil ass leader or somebody. No, ain't nobody bitch. Nursing alert. If the charge nurse observes life-threatening or illegal deficiencies on the part of an employee, the director of nursing should be notified at once. The employee should be suspended pending investigation. During suspension, retraining, or treatment may occur. However, if the employee's act was very fucking serious, your ass getting fired and getting the fuck up out of there. The termination of employment is often the only legal option open to the facility. Many of the just causes for suspension or immediate termination or employment are similar to those for suspending or revoking a nurse's license. When you go back to chapter 101, it'll let you know why the fuck you get suspended from, or, get your license snatched back. Okay? For an evaluator, it is important. Oh, I'm sorry. That was talking about the nursing leadership position is required to make many decisions ranging from assigning staff to managing an assaultive client to calling the code on a lifeless client. Whatever leadership style is used, the leader should be able to make and communicate competent decisions in life and death situations. Decisions must be made quickly. The client and other team members depend on the team leader charge nurse to determine what to do in non-life threatening situations. Team members can give input and take part in the decision making process. However, members that the leader takes ultimately responsibility for any decision. However, remember that the leader takes ultimate responsibility for any decision. Follow basic problem solving steps. Work towards decision. And that's going all the way back to chapter 13. Determine the problem, set goals, gather relevant info, and determine what action to take. An emergency, if an emergency, act quickly. Um, if an emergency, act quickly and communicate the situation urgently. Seek advice or assistance from others when necessary and when possible. Remember to follow the chain of command in the facility. Follow personnel into issues situations seem critical, act accordingly. After a decision is made, follow through and make sure the situation is safely resolved. Evaluate the situation as it evolves. Keep in mind that revisions may need to be made continuously. After a crisis, such as a code, debrief the entire team to allow vision for feelings and to determine the best action to take in the event of another similar emergency. So we just read all of it, right? Nurse alert, this was for a successful nursing career. I know that's real, baby. Thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet. Okay. Know that nursing alert right there. Go back to it. Go all the way back up to the plan of assistance. We're gonna go all the way back up to the plan of assistance because we need to do a little more highlight. So, like I said, we highlighted a plan of assistance includes when it's talking about the statement of potential constitutes decline, employee actively correct the deficiency timeline for improvement to be apparent and constitutes the employee if the plan of assistance is not followed and improvement not shown. That needs to be highlighted. So highlight um, the employee signature does not imply agreement, but simply acknowledges of the information. They may not agree, but they got the receipt and know what the fuck they got to do and what we talked about. I like that. Last sentence. Evaluator needs to be much mature, observant, fair, and tactful. Now going into decision making, we need whatever leadership style is used to leadership, be able to make and communicate competent decisions. In life and death situations, decisions must be made quickly. The client and other team members depend on the team leader's charge nurse to determine what to do in non-life threatening situations. Team members can give input and take part in the decision making. However, remember that the leader takes ultimate responsibility for any decision. I want you to highlight all that I just said. You start at whatever, and that last sentence in that decision. And then you need to highlight in an emergency, act quickly and communicate the situation urgently. Seek advice or assistance from others when necessary and when possible. Remember to follow the chain of command in the facility. I like that. Follow personal intuition if the situation seems critical and act accordingly. And last sentence, after a crisis such as the cold, debrief the entire team to allow venting of the feelings and determine the best action to take in the event of another similar emergency. And the last sentence is, for that nursing alert, we need to know best wishes for a successful nursing career.